Hello friend, welcome to the channel Pharmacy Dictionary. In today's lecture video, we are going to study and grasp the knowledge regarding the movement of drug molecule across the cell membrane. Although we have covered all this point in our whiteboard section lecture videos, but it is very important to make your concept very strong so that you may remember this point for longer duration of time. So in this video, I am going to take the help of some diagram and the representation from reference book. As in the first diagram, you can see we have two types of separation chamber. The first one is extracellular space of higher concentration. You should focus this word higher concentration, and the same intracellular space which is having lower concentration. So as per the different transport process of drug across the cell membrane, there are diffusion process also. So as per the definition of diffusion, movement of molecule from the region of higher concentration toward the lower concentration is simply known as a diffusion. And a diffusion which does not require any kind of energy from external source is simply termed as a passive diffusion. So in this case, I am going to explain you the process of passive diffusion which does not require any kind of energy. But passive diffusion is not as easy as it look like. There are two subtypes for the diffusion process under the passive diffusion, and the first one is for lipid soluble drug and the other one is for non-lipid soluble, or we can say water soluble drug. So let me explain you regarding the lipid soluble drug movement across the cell membrane under passive diffusion. So if these drugs which are looking in a red circles are lipid soluble drug, to move the lipid soluble drug across the membrane, they will solubilize themselves in membrane. So the strap of yellow color is representing membrane. What is a membrane? This is made of a phospholipid bilayer having two layers, and is like a barrier which allow only those specific molecule of drug which are as per the need, as per the regulation. So here in lipid soluble drug cases, these are solubilized by membrane and they move from extracellular region toward the intracellular region by crossing this membrane, as you can see in the diagram. But it is applicable only for the lipid soluble drug, not for water soluble drug. So how the water soluble drug move across the membrane? So there are expression of water soluble drug too. In this diagram, as you can see, the blue color star shaped drugs, these are representing for the non-lipid soluble drug, or simply we can say water soluble drug. And for the movement of for this water soluble drug, we need a aqueous pore channel. So in this yellow color strap, there is a gap. As you can see, this is a gap, or we can say this is a pore. So what is this pore? This is named as a aqueous pore paracellular space. That means a pore which is present in between the membrane, so that the drug of water solubility can easily pass through this pore membrane. And this is simply explained by the filtration process. So this filtration process is applicable for the water soluble drug. As we have seen in the whiteboard section, the filtration process allow only those molecule which is as smaller in size as compared to the pore size of the membrane. As you have seen in this diagram, we have completed passive diffusion and filtration of the drug molecule across the biological membrane. Now coming to the next slide, this slide is representing the different types of capillary barrier. We have seen the normal barrier, normal capillary we can say, these are usual capillary. And in the part of usual capillary, there are some basic fundamental part. The first one is basement membrane. And this basement membrane is covered by different types of cells, and these are the cell. But here, as you can see, this is the intracellular pore. That means pore available between the two cells is considered or termed as an intracellular pore. And in this intracellular pore, water soluble drug can be moved through very easily, and that is specifically for water soluble drug. But in case of lipid soluble drug, those drug can pass through the membrane, and this membrane is not so much tight junction as case with the brain capillary. So to compare this, we need another diagram, and here is a specific barrier, we can say brain capillary. These are very much tight in junction, or we can say these are the tight junction that does not allow all kind of drug. To pass this tight junction, a drug should be highly lipid soluble. Only high lipid soluble drug, non-polar drug can pass through the blood-brain barrier or different types of blood capillary. And that is the main reason why most of the drug cannot pass through the brain. Only a specific, desired, dedicated or designed drug can pass through the highly tight junction of blood-brain barrier. So this is some limitation regarding movement of drug across the cell membrane. Now coming to the another type of movement of drug across cell membrane, we need transporter. Like we have explained you regarding the transport process across the cell membrane. Carrier-mediated transport process. So in this diagram, I am going to explain the movement of substrate or drug across the cell membrane with the help of transporter. Transporter are the agent which can carry the drug molecule, and they drop the drug molecule from the region of extracellular towards the cytosol of the cell. So this green color substance is substrate or drug of choice which has to be entered inside the cell, and this yellow particle is obviously transporter. So first of all, the first step of movement is the substrate transporter combination. This substrate which has to be transferred, which is in a green color, get occupied inside the transporter. Then this transporter shape this orientation, change its orientation like this, as it has explained in this circle arrow, and after that this drug substance came inside the cell, and again this molecule will move through the extracellular region. This will again convert it into this first initial process, and that again will carry different drug across the cell membrane. But whenever we apply the inhibitor, if we don't need the movement of drug, we need inhibitor. We applied inhibitor. So this inhibitor changed the structure of the transporter. As you can see, the structure of transporter is very clearly, this is having space so that a substrate molecule, a drug molecule will take place. But in this case, after using inhibitor, the structure is damaged and it is not able to carry or able to transport the drug from extracellular region to the cytosol of the cell. So this is transport process which is required transporter to transport the drug across the membrane. Now coming to the next type, that is endocytosis, and under the endocytosis there are two subtypes. First one is phagocytosis and the another one is pinocytosis. This phagocytosis is applicable for the solid masses and the pinocytosis is applicable for the liquid particles. So here in this case, particles or liquid, depending upon the nature to nature, if you are talking about the particle, there should be a phagocytosis, but if you are talking about the liquid, could be a pinocytosis. But if you combine both, this is considered under the endocytosis process. So here the drug molecule which is having higher molecular size like protein and vitamin B12 and other molecules get entrapped or engulfed by the cell. So here is the drug in a red circle. The drug is ingested or engulfed by the cells, opening of mouth of the cell, then is entered to the cell surface, then it will de-vesicalized, and then finally the drug is used for the process of utilization. But if this is not a wanted process, if the agent is a foreign particle, they will lysis with the help of lysosome, that is secrete lysine enzyme, that will be destroyed by the cell, and then finally that drug soluble debris will be released from the cell, and that is called exocytosis. But that is applicable for the microorganism or other type of antigen only. In this case, the drug is utilized by the cell by the process of endocytosis. So friend, this was a small but important video regarding the movement of drug across the cell membrane. Thank you very much. If you want to download this notes in a PDF, you can check the description box for Unit 1 Notes of Pharmacology. Thank you.